Hello, guys. I hope everything is okay now. Let's hope it's all right now. Right? So far, so good. Nothing weird happening with this stream. Welcome to Bow and Arrow Tarot. Hello, Taurus. We're going to get right into it. For those of you who are seeing this later, it is a live stream. So if you're not if you're watching this later on in the week after it's streamed, some of every now and again I'm going to stop and say hi to people who are chatting and things like that. But in any case, this is you, Taurus. We're going to get right into your weekly. I'm going to wait a minute to allow some people to find the video and log in and check in. For those of you who are my regulars, I took a little bit of a break because I was having some camera issues. And it's interesting that happened because it was very much like, I don't know, it's just kind of like, a Three of Wands moment, patience, having to have patience. And it's interesting. I learned a lot of things by being forced to slow down and forced to sort of change my format and all of that. So it was interesting, but nevertheless, here I am. I'm back. And for those of you who are new to my channel, the Beautiful Creatures Tarot deck is the deck that I'm giving away this month on my channel. Okay, so all you have to do to be eligible to win that is be subscribed to my channel. Leave me a comment somewhere letting me know that you're interested in the drawing. And at the end of the month, most importantly, please do check back and see if you're the winner. I usually announce the winner by winner video, so just check back for the winner video and see. So we're going to pull from 3 different decks. I'm going to use the Beautiful Creatures deck for you this week, Taurus. We're going to take a look at your general week. But we'll start off with the Beautiful Mystic Moon. Spirits of Darkness and Light Oracle deck to see what kind of oracle she's got this week. What kind of spirits are working with you or that you may be coming across this week. This is a pre-dawn reading. Sometimes I like to do readings at this time of day. It's, just before the dawn, really. All right, Taurus. We're going to get right into your spirit. See what it is for you this week. Straight out, we have for you Spirit of Armor. Defensive, tactical, guarded. We have Spirit of Air. And we have Spirit of the Dwelling Place. Interesting, because Spirit of the Dwelling Place came out for Aries. So that's quite interesting. It's showing up now, second reading in a row. And I've done, I was really shuffling for quite some time and meditating on your energy even before I started streaming. Spirit of Armor and Spirit of the Air. Let's see what your animal spirits are saying. Of course, armor, like I said, defense, tactical, guarded. Spirit of the Dwelling Place, of course, is coming home, home, being protective. Protecting what's yours. Also feeling like a foundation, right? Coming home to, where you feel strong, where you feel powerful, where you are connected. Spirit of the Dwelling Place, right? Stability, where you find your stability, where you find your feet. And then Spirit, there's Spirit of the Moth popping out. Spirit of Air, clarity, awareness, and truth. And we have Spirit of the Fish. I normally don't take flyers, but I feel like taking them for this video. I'm going to pull out one more card. Normally I cut the deck, but we're going to do that for one more. And you have Spirit of the Panther. There we go. All right, Taurus. Spirit of the Fish and the Moth coming in also. Now, the Moth popped out earlier, and I took it because... just as I was talking about Spirit of the Air, the Moth popped out. The Moth is, of course, air energy. Here, let me start off with the Moth before we get into your spread. The Moth is associated with sort of hastiness, wishful thinking, quick thinking, airiness, wanting to go from, the frying pan into the fire a lot of times is the moth, isn't it? Moths are sort of very attracted to anything that is shiny, anything that is new, anything that glitters. So the moth is very inconsistent, inconstant, you would say. And so be careful, right? The spirit of the moth can come in. It can be somebody that you're dealing with, right? Or it could be an energy that you're resonating with, even in yourself. You may find yourself kind of getting bored very easily, getting bored very quickly, right? And depending on how aware you are of it, you may decide that, hey, hang on a second, I don't want to resonate that much with it. I mean, of course, moth energy, when it is in balance, right? When it is in balance, it can be quite magical, right? There's a magicality to the moth in terms of being able to move from here and there and to experience a lot. But for the most part, the spirit of the moth uh, tends to sort of always do that, right? That is the spirit of the moth. It's always just sort of, it never seems to settle. And so it's one of these spirit animals that comes in as a warning, because we don't really want to be too much like the moth. We don't want to always go from pillar to post, or as soon as there's a new idea, or as soon as you're bored. And when this energy does come into our lives, if we're resonating with it, Taurus, if you're the one resonating with it, and I'm a Taurus rising myself. So sometimes I resonate with the moth, but sometimes I'm dealing with people who resonate with the moth. I'm going to be honest with you. I never really see Taurus resonate with this energy, because Taurus are very steadfast and sort of, committed. Taurus just is that kind of sign. Now you may be resonating with some air energy somewhere else, right? And of course, you may be resonating with the moth, but if you're resonating with strong Taurus energy, it could generally be that you're dealing with somebody who's like this, and it's going to become very apparent because it's one of those sort of energies that you really abhor. It's one of these, moth energy could also be if you ever meet one of these individuals who's always like, every time you see them, they've got this great idea, they've got this great project going on, right? And it sounds fantastic. It's like, oh, yeah. And next time you speak to them, it's like you could ask them about it and they have no news, or they don't want to talk about it, or they're on to something else. Or, it's just kind of like, this is also in the end the type of person you wouldn't really take very serious anymore. You kind of would, you know what I mean? So sometimes, a lot of times, I would say this energy, certainly for strong animal spirits like Taurus, for you, who are so earthy, could certainly be somebody that you're dealing with. Fish energy, another slippery character, right? As the moth flies away, it never really settles too long, gets itself into a lot of trouble. Also, flying into the fire, we have fish energy, and the fish is very slippery. Also, the fish likes to sort of let the currents take him where he goes, right? He lets the currents sort of lead him. And of course, the fish finds himself in very sort of slippery situations because of that. Now, fish energy is quite interesting because it has that sort of inconstant nature, like the moth. But with the fish, it's more this thrill that the fish gets of life sort of whipping it up in its waters and its currents, right? The fish is the type of individual sometimes you will see who's just like, hey, wherever life takes me, I don't think about tomorrow. I don't think about the next day. This is, and at the time, sometimes fish energy is interesting and comes in when somebody's resonating with it. At the time, it can feel very adventurous, but that kind of life is difficult to have, and to have a connection with people in the long run, right? So, this is not to say that you can't have that type of energy, but you can't always simply let the current just take you where it will, right? You have to be able to make your own decisions of when to make roots, when to connect, when to make an effort, right? When to stay, even though it may be exciting to leave again, when to work through difficult times. These are things about life that would lead you deeper into deeper connections with people that the spirit of the fish doesn't understand because he's too quickly sort of caught up in the spirit, in the stream. And so fish energy can really lead to sort of slippery relationships. People who are there 1 minute and gone the next, and back and then gone. People who seemed also, I want to say, very, very enthusiastic again, similar to the moth, but in a very different way. Whereas the moth just kind of just gets excited about what other people want to do, right? I want to say, or it gets attracted to new sort of stimulus, right? So it's the next best thing, or the next cutest woman, or the next cutest guy, or what have you. The fish is more sort of associated with the next big adventure, right? But of course, like I said, the problem with the fish is that he or she is unable to stay long enough to get that deeper, to get the joy of a deeper connection with someone. And eventually, later on in life, when you can't move around as much or be as sort of so-called adventurous as the fish thinks he is, finds himself oftentimes, people who stay in this energy oftentimes find themselves quite alone, without any deep connections. Maybe having had a lot of relationships, 2 or 3 year relationships, 2 or 3 year relationships, 2 or 3, you know what I mean? Hello, Janine. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that kind of energy with the fish. 2 or 3 year relationships, constantly in the lifetime of 6 years is not very much. It's not any real work or effort. And this is the thing that the fish suffers from. So some of you Taurus, you may be dealing with people like this. Just take care. You have slippery energy here, and someone here who's just very unrealistic. Now you have the Panther coming in. And with these two kind of, I want to say, warning animal spirits in a lot of ways, we have the Panther coming in talking about that chaotic moment. The Panther is associated with chaos and nihilism, right? The Panther brings an energy and experience into your life that really causes chaos. And generally feels like it's something that's completely out of your hands. It's an event that comes in that causes, that you had no idea what's going to happen. It was nothing that you could have prepared for. Sound familiar? In a lot of ways. And the thing, though, is that the Panther is one of these really strong animal spirits that once the dust is settled, you find yourself in a place where suddenly there's room for growth that you never would have had before. Because the Panther shakes away all the dust, shakes away sort of all the cobwebs, Sometimes you can find yourself in situations and before you know it, things become so like rudimentary. They become so consistent. You end up going through life and through these sort of repetitive actions, and you don't even realize all of these unnecessary things that you have in your life. And what the Panther does is the Panther brings an event in your life that causes everything to turn upside down. And the power of it kind of blows away any tenuous connections that just aren't necessary, blows away sort of the cobwebs, the dust. And what happens is that the only thing that's left is something that's substantial, right? And you end up having room for growth. It's a beautiful animal spirit, and it's a very strong animal spirit that comes in, but it is absolutely very difficult to go through. And more than anything, it is associated with a feeling of chaos and being just sort of caught by surprise, just really being caught by surprise. The spirit of the Panther is much more sort of an energy of what life is bringing in for you and how you can respond to it. Straight out, we have 2 of Cups, 2 of Wands, wow, and the King of Swords. Wow. Some of you Taurus are coming in this week with a lot of balance being needed. Spirit of the air, awareness and truth is coming in for you in a lot of ways. You have King of Swords, 2 of Cups, relationships. Some of you have a relationship on your mind. I want to say a connection on your mind, but there's a very heavy decision that you have to make. 2 of Wands, 2 of Wands is a feeling of, it's not like the 2 of Swords where it's an impossible decision, right? But 2 of Wands is like looking to the future. What's my next step? right? What's my next step moving forward? I'm about to go. Two of Wands is also Mars and Aries energy. So it's very strong forward action, but it's also a very deliberate decision of what my next step is after having had that Ace of Wands, that brilliant idea, the seed that grew, right? So then we have Two of Wands. It's like Mars and Aries in the sense that you're ready to attack the world. You're ready to sort of get your idea, get your passion is up and going. But which way do you go? What decisions do you make? And so right now, this week is a difficult week for some of you, but I think you work it out. Two of Cups, Two of Wands, and King of Swords. You decide your next move through your logic and through just working it out. And it certainly involves a love connection. Involves some kind of love connection. Your next step. I'm going to say, though, the next step is the next step in something that you feel really passionate about, Taurus. And I don't know that the next step is necessarily the next step in love. You may be feeling very, very passionate about this relationship, but this Two of Cups to me feels like a relationship that, yes, of course, you love each other. It's a Two of Cups, but it's like this passion here. To me, I'm feeling that it's like your life's passion, like something to do with art or your work or your talent or skill that you have in some way, Taurus, that you are trying to manifest or get better at or bring out there into the world. King of Swords is how you resonate by the end of the week. And King of Swords really looks extremely critically at everything. With honesty, with clarity. It is the card for logic in this deck, this beautiful creatures deck. It's the card for logic, right? So we're talking about this feeling of having to sort of work your way through a particular problem. The King of Swords also is the man or the woman who comes up with the solutions. The good solutions to a problem that may have been a little bit difficult. Sorry about that glare. I got to move that over here somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So this is the kind of energy that you're bringing to this week, right? You're bringing this energy of cold, calculated sort of problem solving, figuring it out, maybe strategizing. Again, you have spirit of armor, defense, tactical, guarded. So some of you are going to be very, very careful about your next move, right? Tactical and guarded. If that is the case, if you are starting something, there's a reason that the King of Swords is coming out. There's also a reason that the spirit of armor is here. You have the spirit of air, which is King of Swords, but spirit of armor also. Be careful, right? Be tactical. There's some reason why this needs to be, and guarded. Yes, Janine, definitely guarded. There's some reason why you need to maintain a guarded and defensive stance about this. It could be for whatever reason that maybe the idea, the people you're working with, it could have money involved, right? I'm not going to take all those cards. It could be for whatever reason, but I want to say there's something there, right? So just take care. And then coming into Two of Cups into the week can also be that some of you guys may be dealing with someone. I'm going to say some of you. This just came to me as a message that some of you may be dealing with someone that you're in a relationship with who is at odds with what you do. Because this person is very, very difficult. They may be, you guys may be, I don't know why this is suddenly happening. Panther comes in with chaos, slippery. This could be a really kind of, some of you may be in a difficult situation with a partner who is aggressive, maybe. Maybe there is a certain level of toxicity there. You're wanting to move on because all of this tactical sort of guarded defense, passion coming in, and then this person, you want safety with the spirit of the dwelling place, but yet you're so in the decisions, are going down to the core of your being. Yet this relationship here to me feels like it's not the thing you're passionate about, but yet it is the thing that is impacting your decision in some kind of way. So be careful. And if that is the case, then continue to be guarded and tactical. Continue to be patient. And remember this, if you're dealing with somebody who's resonating with fish or moth energy, remember that, we talk about animal spirits for a reason. A fish is a fish. He's not going to suddenly stop being a fish, right? If someone's resonating with fish energy, it's not like they're going to suddenly be an eagle, you know? Same thing with the month. So if you're dealing with somebody that you're having to be that's difficult, if you're dealing with somebody, especially right now in the times that we're living in right now, where we simply can't really get away from people, if you're dealing with somebody like that, then your best defense, your best tactic is everything that you know about them. What do you know about them? How do you know that they're, what do you know about their behavior, right? And use that to make your decision on how to move forward. Anticipate how they're going to act. If you know that somebody's resonating with the fish, you can anticipate how a fish is going to act or how your fish is going to act. And this is going to help you deal with some of that tactics. However, some of you have got the Panther coming in on your side, and there's going to be chaos coming in. And generally, I'm going to say something else. Whenever chaos comes in like that, when anyone who is working with difficult energy or negative energy, they get caught up in the chaos like that. All right. The chaos is there to bring room for growth for those who are being intentional and positive. And with that chaos, all the negativity generally gets swept up as well. So there may be a chaotic event coming in for some of you guys. That will look scary at first, but if that is the case for a few of you, Taurus, you may be resonating with it. If that is the case, realize that chaotic event right in the center, there is a window of beautiful opportunity for you to use that chaotic event to achieve what you're trying to achieve with that forward movement here, especially if you're dealing with somebody that you're having to be very careful with. Next reading, 8 of Wands, 2 of Swords, and there's the other 2. I knew the 2 of Swords was going to come out. It just felt like that. I knew that. Hello, Marco Polo. I knew the 2 of Swords was going to come out because 2 and 2, 8 of Wands is coming in. So for some of you, there is a lot of mixed messages coming in this week. 8 of Wands is a lot of activity, a lot of action, a lot of mixed messages. Some of you are going to go viral this week, depending on what you're doing. Let me move some of these cards up so you can see everything. You guys know I'm so picky about the damn cards. I don't know why. It's like OCD. There you go. So some of you are going viral this week. It may be your work. It may be something that you're doing. It may be something you're doing in the community. Again, this could be some of you who have already gone through that stage before with your passion. But in any case, 8 of Wands is messages. It is emails, texts, phone calls, boom, 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 boom. But yet this week, you have a 2 of Swords. So there's a lot of confusion coming in. You have a decision you have to make. You have a decision you have to make, and you're very, very confused. Which way do I go? Do I go this way? Do I go that way? The thing with the 2 of Swords is balance, finding balance. So just remember, if you are ever put in a situation, this is the thing I say with 2 of Swords energy. If you're put into a situation where you're not given the options that you're being forced to choose from, then you don't have to make that decision. You can always choose to go a third route. You can always choose to make your own option, especially because a lot of times 2 of Swords feels like a decision that you're being forced to make. And this is why I say that. Sometimes it's just a difficult decision that you find yourself in having to make it. And you're like, shit, I just can't decide which way do I go? What do I choose? And because the thing with 2 of Swords, it generally feels like there's either or. But 2 of Swords is actually Moon and Libra energy. So we're talking about balance, really, with 2 of Swords, right? So we're talking about you realizing that you're going to need a little bit of both. You might need a little bit of both. You might need to figure out a new option. And especially if you feel like you're being forced into a situation to make an impossible decision, you don't have to. You never have to. You can always go your own way. You can always find balance. There may be consequences. Of course, there's always consequences to not going the way that everybody wants you to go, or going the way that somebody is maybe, I want to say, trying to not intimidate, but pressure you perhaps to go. You can always say no, but you have to be okay with whatever consequences come. But that's down to you. Truth of the matter is that you have a Chariot coming in by the end of the week. So this decision is setting you up for your next path. You know, motion. You're about to, the Chariot is all about sort of getting ready to go. A lot of times it's associated with motion, but more than anything, the Chariot is associated really like with laying that groundwork a lot of times. Getting that groundwork ready because you're about to take off. Now, you could be taking off now. It could be like, you know what I mean? Chugging. I feel like a train that's slowly like beginning to chug along because you do have this 8 of Wands. I feel like this here is certainly for a Taurus who has some kind of career or business or something that's going into a real shift, right? And it's going into a real shift of sort of a lot of work. Perhaps even, certainly a lot of abundance. I want to say probably a lot of abundance to maybe come later on. But right now, this is just mostly all about work, making the right decisions, and just being very sort of, I want to say prepared, but responding well now. And later on, more changes will certainly come. Hermit energy for some of you. Ooh, and the decadence. Number 16, the Tower. All right. So in this deck, the 16 isn't called the Tower. It's called the Decadence or Abruption. We have the Hermit and the 8 of Swords, another 8 card coming in. And this is quite toxic here. This is really interesting because, of course, the Hermit has shown up for quite a lot of readings. Why? Because we are all literally physically being forced to sort of hermit ourselves away, change the way we interact with each other. And honestly, if you're a regular on my channel, you will know that even before this little last break that I took, I've been off my channel for about 3 or 4 days now, I think. But last week when I was uploading and live streaming, the Hermit was coming out over and over and over again, and it's still here. Why? Because we're still in that situation. So I think it came out in one of the spreads for every single sign last week. Hermit introspection is happening. A lot of us, again, like I said, we're looking inwards. We're being forced to look inwards because we can't look outwards because there is no out. We're inside our homes. There is no outside. So people are being forced to kind of look inward. And a lot of us are taking the opportunity to be very introspective. And this is happening for you, Taurus. But this week, the Tower happens. Like I said, in this deck, it is called Abruption. The decadence, right? And a lot of times that is an energy as well that can be associated with the Tower. This feeling of, having had it too good, having had too much, and then everything just comes down. Having sort of gotten used to a very comfy idea of the world, right? A lot of times when we see the Tower, we see it. Of course, the Tower is the breaking down of what we have, what every individual, your Tower is different for you. My Tower is different for me. But the Tower represents our outward look at the world, our system of beliefs, what we believe the world to be, what it should be, our ideas, all of that is what our Tower consists of. And when we have a Tower moment, it means our experience is at odds with that. We're having an experience that's completely at odds with something that we've identified with for quite some time. And that's why the Tower moment is so chaotic for a lot of people and so upsetting, right? Panther energy comes in. Panther energy is absolute chaos. The Tower is also a very chaotic moment. It's an abruption. It's a moment where we suddenly are being told that what we've been chugging along with so nicely and comfortably with is false or not even real, doesn't exist. It's, and this is because of an experience that we are having. So this is our own evidence coming in to say, hey, you know what? I was wrong about something. And if I was wrong about that, have I been going through life blind? This is a lot of reasons why the Tower moment can be so devastating for people. However, we always go through Tower moments, and they should really be embraced because from the moment we were born, we were going through Tower moments. When we were children, we thought the world around us was a certain way, and we were constantly learning and finding out that it wasn't that way. Our horizons were being broadened. And this idea that when you grow up, you're an adult, suddenly there's no more room for your horizon to be broadened because you're a grown up is very sad. It's limiting. It's I don't want to say that it's sad, but I want to say that it makes the mistake of forgetting how truly wonderful it was to learn that you were wrong about something and to learn that there was something more to know. And that's really the Tower. There's something more to know. You come out of this with an 8 of Swords this week, resonating with strong toxic energy of imprisonment and feeling like your decisions are not your own. Very interesting spread. Hermit, Tower, and 8 of Swords. I'm going to say that this 8 of Swords may indeed be a toxic connection that you have with someone, or someone who is being very toxic with you. And I'm going to say this is a new side of them. This is a new side of them that you're seeing because you're having a Tower moment. So this week it's a real feeling. It's a real feeling that I want to say that after you've had this introspection with the Hermit, it could even be that certain behaviors that you had gotten used to and with a particular connection, now that you've had this moment of real introspection with this Hermit energy, suddenly you're seeing things differently. And I think this is something that's happening with a lot of my collective, because I keep seeing it coming up in the readings over and over and over again because of this really extraordinary set of circumstances that we're all dealing with. Because you're having this Tower moment, and it feels to me, Taurus, like all of a sudden, someone that you've been dealing with, you just suddenly see all the toxicity and all of the codependence that maybe up until now you weren't so acutely aware of. You may have explained some things away before, but now this week it's like 8 of Swords comes out. 8 of Swords is someone who is, they play the victim. Oh, poor me. The world's against me. I can't make any good decisions because everybody else stops me from making those decisions. You know what I mean? 8 of Swords is someone who's imprisoned in their own such small, restrictive way of thinking that people are shunned. They don't attract people to them. There's the law of attraction, and then there's the law of repulsion. And when you have a certain energy that you walk around with, you repulse people. People don't want to be around you. They feel that you're an energy sucker or energy drainer. This is what 8 of Swords energy is. And I feel that, like I said, Taurus, I feel that this is an energy or a codependent connection that you have with somebody that this week, because of this Tower moment, whatever this is for you, really opens your eyes to exactly how toxic this individual is. And I think that up until now, you just didn't realize how serious it was, right? Panther's coming in. Clarity is coming in. You know what I mean? For a lot of you, truth, spirit of the air, there's a sense of truth coming in. Swords, of course, is air energy anyway. So I just feel like, Taurus, for some of you, this is a real awakening, and this is a real feeling like, wow, I can't believe I never saw what a prick you are. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's going to be like one of those moments. Like, my God, have you always been like that? Did I just not see it until now? I think that a lot of you, and this is going to be a great thing. And although it is a Tower, and why do I say this is going to be a great thing? Because it's always a great thing to have your eyes opened to a codependent relationship that is toxic and unhealthy. That is always a good thing, because that means you are beginning to sort of maybe now take the next step to get away from it and to move on, right? Continuing a toxic relationship once you realize exactly the toxicity that's there and exactly how it's affecting you. When your eyes have been open, when you have had your Tower moment, then of course it's down to you how you're going to handle it. But one would think that when you see someone, you realize, my God, this is just not for me, that you just find a way to move on. Just find a way to move on. Right? All right, guys, I'm going to leave it at that. This is a strong reading for Taurus this week, having real openings, real awakenings with people. A lot of you are dealing with moths. You're dealing with fish. Moths and fish, remember, like I said, some of them just the moth keeps going for the flame. So they're just going to go for the next shiny, new toy, or for the next dangerous new event. And they just generally have this kind of very reckless attitude. This is air energy. So this is somebody who just thinks very reckless. When the fish is one of these people who just is, again, a toxic energy when we're talking about a relationship. Somebody is there one day, they're gone the next day, they might come back, they're very emotional, they think being emotional is the only way to life. They don't like to stay long enough to figure out their emotions, but then they're back. You know what I'm saying? A nightmare. And if any of you are dealing with somebody like this, the Panther is coming in to cause you chaos and really get you sort of up out of that. All right, guys, this is it. I'm going to leave it. I don't want to leave it too long. I'm giving you longer videos because I haven't been around for a couple days and I missed you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed it. This is Taurus. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and let me know if you're interested in this month's giveaway, the Beautiful Creatures Tarot Deck Guidebook box set. Of course, the winner will get a new one. And more importantly, once you subscribe and you leave me your comment letting me know you're interested, please check back at the end of the month. Check the winner video at the end of the month, because guess what? I'm still waiting for the March winner to get back to me. And I know it's a difficult time now, so I'm giving them a good long time to get back. God forbid, I don't want them to have won and then I don't give them long enough to contact me or email me, but it's like, it's been 2 weeks. In a little while, I'm going to pick another winner and they're going to miss out. So please do check back at the end of the month if you want to be in the drawing, because I can only contact you or I can only send the deck out to the winner once the winner leaves me their details in an email or emails me. There's no other way for me to contact you guys except through my videos or my posts on my page. I can't directly contact you and say, hey, you're the winner, give me your address. So I produce a winner video to make it exciting for everyone so they can just come at the end of the month and watch the video in their own time and find out if they're the one that's announced. But everybody has to watch the video to see if they're the winner. And once you realize you are the winner, then you have to email me at bowandarrowtarot@gmail.com and send me your address or your post office box or wherever you would like to have this beautiful deck sent as the winner. All right, guys, I hope you get that. All right, I love you so much, Taurus. Thank you so much. I will be back shortly, I hope. I may have to actually get some sleep. I've been working out all day on this situation and get the streaming together. So now that it's working, I might just take a break, get some rest, and be back in a few hours and be streaming back to back. All right, guys, but I love you so much. Thank you for hanging in there. Thank you for being patient with me. Thank you for showing up so much and chatting so much. I'm going to go back and read all the chats once I'm done this stream. I can't do it while I'm streaming. And that's it. I love you, Taurus. I'll see you next time for your weekly outlook. Bye-bye, guys.